Alright, so right now we're going to talk about lesson 7.4. We're going to introduce the idea of a logarithm and graph logarithmic functions. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to evaluate logarithms and graph a logarithmic function. Where these logarithms come in, a logarithm is a way to figure out an exponent. So for example, we know 2 squared is 4. We know 2 cubed is 8. Let's say we wanted to figure out what value of x, what exponent of 2 could give us 6. To do that, we would use a logarithm, and we would rewrite it. Okay? A logarithm is a way to rewrite an exponent to figure out that exponent. So for example, this one, our exponent now becomes our answer. X equals the log of base 2 of 6. And we're going to talk about how to evaluate that. Okay, here's the official definition of a logarithm. You can read all of this stuff on your own. This is in your textbook. Okay. What is most helpful to you is this part here. This will help you rewrite those logarithms, understanding that the log with base b of a number y equals x. And that gets rewritten as the base to the x power equals y. It's rewriting stuff. That's what it is. You'll rewrite a log into exponent to help you solve it, and vice versa. Okay? We'll do a lot of practice with that. Okay, now as we said, evaluating a logarithm is a matter of rewriting it. So here we're given a whole bunch of logarithms. We're going to try 8 together. Okay? We want to just rewrite it here. We want to rewrite log base 2 of 8 equals 3. We want to rewrite that as an exponent. And we're going to use our rule here. Okay? Our rule says that whatever our base is of our log becomes the base with the exponent. Let's do that first. Our base for our log is 2. So that's going to be our big base. Okay? You can kind of remember that by, we did refer to this as a base before when we talked about exponents. It's the same thing. The base of the exponent is the same base as the log. Okay? So then, according to our rule, whatever your log is equal to becomes your exponent. Here, our log is equal to 3, so that's our exponent. And then the exponent is equal to y, whatever you're trying to find the log of. So here, our y value is 8. And we'll ask ourselves if that's true. Is 2 cubed 8? And it is. So we just rewrote it correctly. Now I want you guys to try B through D on your own. Refer to this rule. Okay, so as you can see, we wrote the answers for B, C, and D. Make sure you're following the formula. Your base raised to your answer. Okay, so the base of our logarithm is raised to the answer, and it equals whatever is back in your logarithm. It's kind of like a pattern even. 4 to the 0 power equals 1. That is true, so we did it correctly. 12 to the first power equals 12. 1/4 to the negative 1 equals 4. Okay, so now we want to actually evaluate the logarithms. We are given a log, and I know there's a lot going on this board right now. Focus on these problems here. We're given log base 4 of 64. We want to figure out what that is. And this is not something you can just type in your calculator right now. When you have a base of 10, you can, but we don't have that. And we'll cover the base 10 in a little bit. But for now, we want to rewrite this to help us figure out how to evaluate that. And we're going to refer back to our rule here to help us rewrite it. Log base b of y equals x can be rewritten as b, that base, to your answer equals what you're trying to take the log of. So we're going to focus on this question to help us rewrite these logs. What power of b gives you y? What power of b gives you y. That'll help us find that x. So for this one, 4, that's our base, to what power gives you 64? That'll help us rewrite it. So 4 to what power gives you 64? That's what we're trying to think of. Another way you can think of it is you can take your log base 4 of 64 and equal x, and use that to help you rewrite it, because we don't know what that equals right now. That's what we're trying to solve for. So we rewrote it, okay, according to our rule, and we're going to ask ourselves, 4 to what power gives you 64? Here is where the easiest thing is to use your calculator. You know 4 to the first power is 4. 4 squared is not 64, so let's try 4 to the third power. 4 cubed, if you use your calculator, does give you 64. So that means that the answer to this logarithm, log base 4 of 64, is equal to 3. Same reasoning for this other problem here, even with the decimal. We have log base 5 of 0.2. We want to figure out what that is. We don't know what that is, so that's equal to x. We're going to ask ourselves this question to help us rewrite it. 5, your base, right way, to what power, anything what in algebra is a variable, 5 to what power gives you 0.2? Now here's where we got to think about it a little bit. We have a whole number that we're raising to an exponent, and we're getting a decimal. Remember, decimals and fractions are really close at hand. This 0.2, if you go on your calculator, type in 0.2, math, enter, it'll tell you what fraction this is. But we're so smart, we know that this is 2/10. It's 2 in the 10th place, so we can rewrite that. It's 2/10. Uh-oh, that's the same as 1/5. So if I'm raising a 5 to a certain power, and I want to figure out what power that has to be to give me 1/5, well, that's got to be a -1, right? Because it's flipping my base. So 5 to the -1 gives me 0.2. So the answer to this logarithm is -1. I would like you guys to try, and it's kind of hard to see unfortunately because of my writing, I would like you to try C and D on your own, and in just a second I will show the answers. Okay, so you tried C and D on your own. We have the log base 1/5 equals 125. We wanted to rewrite that. We ask ourselves, what, 1/5 to what power gives you 125? And we ask ourselves, we have a fraction that we want to take some power of and get a bigger number. So that means that we probably want to flip that fraction and raise it to a power. We know that 5 squared is 25, so 5 to the third is 125. So we want to flip this fraction to make it a 5. We do that by having a negative exponent. So the answer to this logarithm is -3, because 1/5 to the -3rd is 125. You're going to have to draw on your knowledge of exponents here. Might require some trial and error, but that's okay, as long as you get how to rewrite it. For D, same deal. We say 36 to what power gives me 6? Okay, well, 36, it's kind of like you're reducing it. Square root of 36 is 6. And we know that raising something to the 1/2 power is the same as taking the square root. So that gives us 1/2.